Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning. Good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And look out, guys, for those of you who are just listening and not watching, you got two gingers who are talking to you today. So just be prepared because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, you get these gingers together and oh my gosh, except we're both really dark. Is that different? Do they still call us gingers if it's dark red?
I own it.
I don't know. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was orange when I was little, so it was definitely ginger, but yeah, so cool. Well, joining me today is one of my fabulous friends from C-Suite Network, but more importantly, she is really knowledgeable, and we're going to have a great conversation today. So, Amanda, welcome to our program today.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yay! And she's in Colorado. I mean,
Yes.
You know, we hit the trifecta, the whatever, right? So let me tell people just a little bit about you, and then we will jump in. So Amanda Taylor is an international speaker, author, and podcaster, as well as a real estate investor, business coach, and co-founder of Metropolis Business Development. Not sure when she sleeps. She helps entrepreneurs and small business owners scale revenue, streamline operations, and secure funding through proven growth strategies, automation, and financial solutions. So again, Amanda, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I always ask this. I know it's cliche, but we want to know, how did you get to where you are today?
You know, I started in dentistry, which is totally normal.
Yeah, dentistry. Okay.
No, I tell everybody I got here by accident, even though, you know, nothing is totally an accident. No, I was in dental practice management for 15 years, and I moved from Texas to Fort Collins, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Go Rams.
Go Puffs. Okay, we're good now.
We don't need to have that conversation. I'm not from here. I have no preference.
Yeah.
So when I moved here, you know, it was from my ex-husband. He had the career. I worked at a dental office. And so I found a dentist who was, you know, only working a couple days a week because he was semi-retired. And so I was there and I was looking for something else. And a woman I had met was like, hey, my husband and his partner just started this real estate investing business. They just need someone a few hours a week to do paperwork. And you seem really organized. And I was like, okay, I have no idea about real estate or investing or anything, but yeah,
but paperwork should be paperwork.
It's paperwork. And, you know, that was the rest is history moment. I, you know, started working with them. I knew nothing. I was Googling terms while they were talking and, you know, getting, you know, my hands dirty in that. And, you know, fast forward 7 years later, I started my own real estate investing company. I'm doing my own projects. I have my own portfolio and have started 2 other businesses since then. So it was something I had no idea that I would end up in. Never in a million years did I think that I would be that person, that I would be an entrepreneur, period. And once I got involved in that and started learning about it and got so excited about it, I'd never been excited about anything before, really career-wise. And that was just it for me. And I knew that I had found what I wanted to do.
Right. I love it. And then you added other things.
Why not?
Yeah, because like I said, you don't sleep, right? You know, and what I love and what we've talked about before with you when I had, you know, conversations is, you know, so many entrepreneurs, for one thing, we go into business and we think either A, we know it all, or B, we are expected to know it all. And heaven forbid that we ask for help. So let's kind of sit there just for a minute. And so how do you kind of convince people, no, it's okay to ask for help?
Because I did. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I knew nothing. And luckily I had great mentors who were willing, and yes, I was Googling terms, but
Right.
they were willing to teach, and
Mm-hmm.
I was willing to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And I was willing to learn beyond just doing the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
I was craving the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge beyond just organizing
Mm-hmm.
things. I wanted to learn the business. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to learn the creative financing
Mm-hmm.
strategies and all of the things that came
Mm-hmm.
along with it. So I grew with them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just it. When you get into that, I have to figure everything out myself. Even in business, I tell people all the time that DIY approach costs you so much
Right.
time and money,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you can't do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in your zone of genius, that's the thing that creates your revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to learn all these other pieces
Mm-hmm.
to save money,
Mm-hmm.
you're really taking away from the thing that makes you money, and it's just going to cost you more in the long run. So I tell people all the time, like that's what's costing
Mm-hmm.
you money, is trying to do it all yourself.
Right. And I always laugh when people have that mentality, because I'm like, do you hire a doctor? Well, yes. Do you change your own oil? Well, no. you know,
No.
and so I don't know why we seem to think as a business owner that we can't ask for help. And I mean, or like have a coach, right? I tell people Tiger Woods has a coach.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan had a coach. You're in Colorado. John Elway had a coach. He had lots of coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's only going to help us to enhance what we're doing.
Yeah. I use that all the time. I'm a business coach. I have
Mm-hmm.
a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be around people who can see your blind
Mm-hmm.
spots. I say all the time, you can't read the label from inside the jar.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're so close to your
Mm-hmm.
business, if you're in it every day, you're not
Mm-hmm.
seeing things from that perspective,
Mm-hmm.
up here, over
Right.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I use
Mm-hmm.
that all the time. One of our coaching programs is called the Race to Revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And we use that athlete analogy
Mm-hmm.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
These are professional athletes
Mm-hmm.
at the peak
Right.
of professionalism and, you know, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they have someone holding them accountable,
Mm-hmm.
tracking their progress,
Mm-hmm.
showing them different ways of doing things. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it really is. I tell people, sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is when you ask for help. And whatever it is, whether it's mental help, coaching help, business help, whatever it is, we're not saying, ew, I can't do it. Well, we kind of are, but we're saying we need help to make it better.
Yeah, and a lot of the work that I do is around finance, wealth
Mm-hmm.
strategy, business funding, things like that. And my clients and
Mm-hmm.
pretty much every entrepreneur I've ever
Mm-hmm.
talked to has given everything, blood, sweat, tears,
Mm-hmm.
money, and all of their
Mm-hmm.
personal finance and
Right.
credit
Mm-hmm.
to bootstrap their
Mm-hmm.
business.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it comes with a lot of shame, and they don't want to talk about how
Right.
much debt that
Mm-hmm.
they've gotten themselves
Mm-hmm.
into. And we have to get rid of that,
Mm-hmm.
because there are options
Mm-hmm.
to move that personal
Mm-hmm.
debt, or the business
Mm-hmm.
debt that's on your personal
Right.
credit,
Mm-hmm.
onto business
Mm-hmm.
credit. And we help people do
Mm-hmm.
that. But if you're too ashamed to even
Mm-hmm.
admit that you've gotten
Mm-hmm.
yourself there,
Right.
then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
stay stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the whole thing's about.
Right. Well, and we did. We all started our business using our own personal money. I mean, we had to. And the goal was, of course, to stop doing that as early as we possibly could. But sometimes things happen, and you have to do that. But then, you want to get back out of that as soon as possible. I remember, 25-ish years ago when I started my business, I was meeting with a business consultant coach, whatever she was called back then. And, we were talking finances. And one of the things that she told me, and obviously I still remember this because it really made an impression. She said, when I set up my business account, and she said, and you have to set up a business account, right? I mean, and I did do this, Secretary of State, all that good stuff. But she said, when you set up your business account, she said, set it up in a different bank than your personal accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Because it makes it so much harder for money to go between them. And I remember thinking, well, that's stupid. And of course, but she was right.
Yeah.
Because, it was like, okay, there was different credit cards, right? They looked different. You didn't have to really worry about which one am I grabbing. But more importantly, it was this account pays for this. This account pays for that. And it really was much easier to do that.
Sure. Yeah. The commingling, you tend to, if you could just transfer in between accounts, then you're going to lose track of so many things. That's definitely smart. And I have separate banks for business and for personal.
Yeah. And she, she said, don't even have separate accounts, have separate banks.
Yep.
And then, heaven forbid you get audited. It is going to be much easier, all sorts of things, because you've got a very clear path of what's going on. Now, you still might be loaning your own business money. You might not be paying yourself, right? That's one of those things that, right? But I put everything back into the business. I just do. I always have. But that's it. When you have that separate financial entity, it is, and she also told me, she said, that's one of those things that shows that you are serious about your business and that it's not a hobby.
Right. Yeah. Are you a business owner, or do you just buy yourself a job with a flexible dress code is what I tell people all the time. Because there's a standard, especially going from employee to entrepreneur. You see so many people leaving corporate and they're like, well, I'm just going to go work for myself. That's an entire shift in not only your day to day, but you are going from an employee to a business owner. There are so many other things you have to take into account with how you're running your business. It's not just, I created this widget. I love this widget. I'm going to sell this widget. There's 100 other things that come along with being that business owner. And we have lost, I think, teaching people the business of running a business.
Right.
And that's what I do. So I think, because it gets lost in the passion of the thing that we do.
Well, and a lot of times we've started it as a side gig, as a hobby, right? But once you figure out, hey, this is going to be an ongoing business entity, then you need to make those steps. You need to register with your Secretary of State. You need to get a tax ID number. And folks, that's free. The IRS doesn't charge you for that.
Don't let anybody tell you that you have to pay for that.
Yes. So make sure that you've done that and set up separate accounts. Depending on what you're doing, you might need specialized insurance, all of those things. And but back to what we were saying at the beginning, people are like, oh my God, I don't know. I have to do all that. So I'm not going to do it. I mean, how many times have we hired somebody, landscaper, maybe even an accountant, whatever, and you write them a check to them personally, right? So I write it to Amanda Taylor as opposed to your business. Oh, yeah. And I've even had people tell me, it'll save you money to do that. Well, what I know is happening is the IRS might be a little unhappy with that. And, and I'm like, well, I prefer to pay your business. And they look at me like, But yeah, it's, as soon as you can, again, show that you are serious about this being a business, then make it a business.
Right. Yep. And you talk about the IRS, we teach a lot of tax strategy. And it's not just, writing off every expense. There's way more to it than that. And it's, you don't know what you don't know. And again, asking for help.
And it changes every 20 minutes.
Exactly. We can't keep up with that ourselves. And your standard CPA, their job is to file your taxes. That's it. That a tax strategist has a higher level of knowledge about the tax code, what you can and can't do, and how to structure not only your entity, but your expenses, your income, all of these things to help you keep more of the money that you're making.
Right. And that's the important thing. It's not that we're not wanting to pay taxes. We want to pay what we're supposed to pay. But that's one of the things that I always, when people are like, oh my God, they never pay taxes. No, Well, yeah, there are some who aren't, right? But they have the people who advise them to say, this is what you do to avoid paying taxes.
To avoid overpaying.
Yes, that's it. They're still paying taxes.
To
They're
avoid
not
overpaying.
Yes,
I won't say avoid paying. Avoid
right.
overpaying.
Yeah. I mean, nobody gets out of not paying taxes. You know,
not for long.
Yeah, but yeah, the goal is to pay only what you have to. You know, and again, we can't know all of that. You know, I'm doing my other stuff. I don't want to read tax code. And folks, don't ask Chat GPT. It might give you an accurate answer or it might not. That's where somebody like Amanda comes in.
No, I've corrected Chat GPT a few times.
Well, and I mean, you know, we can talk about AI, but the thing with AI is it's drawing from everything. So it's drawing the correct and the incorrect. And it doesn't know because it just goes, ooh, data. And yeah, so you know, I've had people have said, you know, all sorts of things, and I'm like, no, at least run it past somebody or put it in another AI program and see what it says.
Free advice. Perplexity.ai is my fact checker for ChatGPT.
Yeah. Well, and obviously it's, you know, we won't go down too far this path, but it is about the prompts that you tell it. Sure. I mean, if you say, hey, I'm a business owner and I want to avoid paying taxes, you're going to get quite the response. You know, but
I haven't tried that yet. Maybe I should.
Yeah. But yeah, if you say, here's what I do, here's where I live, you know, all of those things, then it might be able to come a little bit closer, just so that you know then the right questions to ask somebody like Amanda.
Yeah.
So, but you know, one of the things that we never want to think about, you know, okay, so we've done this, we've planned, we've, you know, done the things that we're supposed to, but we don't want to think about the what if something goes wrong. So, you know, you help businesses plan for that big what if. Now, hopefully, what if is you are becoming fabulously wealthy and, you know, and all those. But what if something unforeseen happens? So let's just kind of start diving in, you know, and obviously we can talk about that for days, but let's kind of talk about some of the bigger things and then what we need to be doing as an entrepreneur to be planning for those.
Yeah. And you and I, when we first met, had this conversation, and I think we got there down a few rabbit holes. But through what we were both doing. But when we're talking about all this, you know, starting a business and planning and running a business, and we're getting through the day to day, we're getting to the end of the month, we're treading water, getting through it. We're not planning ahead. And I'm a data nerd. I love data. And less than 13% of small business owners have any exit strategy. That's just if everything goes well.
My exit strategy is I'll die.
Yeah. Well, that's if everything goes well.
Right.
They don't have it. Now, what if everything doesn't?
Right.
And we're talking a myriad of possibility here. You know, you and I got to talking about, you know, the unforeseen, the worst possible scenarios,
things,
health things that you cannot operate your business. You know, and I say one of the biggest mistakes, the most expensive mistakes you can make in business is who you go into it with.
Yes.
That's another thing that has nothing to do with health, but things that you have to have set up and plan for. But if health-wise, expect the unexpected, we all take for granted our own health, our own physical well-being, our own longevity and future.
Right.
We just do. Even, you know, retirement-wise, Gen X, I'm a proud Gen Xer, and I think the average retirement savings for Gen X right now is $87,000.
Right. Folks, that doesn't get you through a year.
No. We're assuming that we have time.
Right.
And that's pervasive across a lot of different, you know, things. So we started talking about it, and it's like there are so many things that we're assuming are not going to happen. And then when they do, we're in trouble.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I got a statement today from my oncologist. saying, hey, you owe money. And it always takes them a long time to bill me for the start of the year because I actually meet my deductible really pretty early. And I am incredibly fortunate. We have very, very good insurance. But this is one doctor from January 1st till now. The charges, now, thank God I don't have to pay these, $114,000. I know, right?
Well, and you just said it. You're very fortunate. I know hundreds of small business owners and entrepreneurs that do not have insurance.
Right.
For whatever reason. Either the spouse doesn't have coverage, they don't have coverage, they're on some sort of co-op or share plan, whatever. It's another expense that they're like,
right.
I can't afford.
Yeah, I'm going to hope and pray, because we all like the hope and pray method, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to hope and pray I don't get sick.
Right.
And hopefully you're right.
And that's why it's called insurance. And, a lot of people have a problem paying for it, but then what if?
Yeah.
And so you and I were talking about, what if you get that diagnosis? What if something happens and you are no longer able to operate the day-to-day in your business? Who can do it? Who knows what to do? Have you recorded everything? Do you have, and then let's say it's worse and you're not going to be around.
Right.
Have you planned?
Yeah. Can somebody at least notify your clients and pay the final bills?
Yeah. There's so much that should be done. We think about it in our personal life. You create a will, you plan for your children, you plan for your spouse, all of these things. But what are you doing for your business? This thing that you've built, that you've, like I said before, you blood, sweat, tears, money, growing. What have you done to prepare for its succession?
Right.
Whatever that looks like.
And think about what you want it to be. As you said, what does that look like? Because it could be pay the bills. You might not even care. You're gone, right? As long as you've set it up that those bills don't transfer to your heirs, right? That's another part of this. If you didn't set up a true business that is registered, all that good stuff, if you were just writing the checks out, no, then those bills transfer to your heirs. And don't you want your clients to be told? I mean, things like that. And, I was talking with someone the other day who she got, a fairly nasty diagnosis, and she didn't really have much insurance. So that's obviously a big stressor. And because she's self-employed and does several things, right? At which a lot of small business owners do. We do a little of this, we do a little of that. We're going to make how are we going to pay the bills, right? But then one of the things, because I talk business continuity, which is what we're talking about here. And so I asked her, I said, who can sign your checks? Well, only she could.
Exactly.
And I said, well, you need to think about adding another signature to your account, even if it's just that they do the final stuff. Now, you might say, okay, if it's a check over 1,000, they can't sign it, whatever. I mean, those things. And folks, we need to do this with our personal accounts too. My mother passed away last year. I'm an only child. I was a signature on her accounts, every single one of them, or they were payable upon death. I mean, my mother was very organized. But I went from the mortuary, writing the really big check at the mortuary, the block away to the bank. And I said, here's what's going on. And they said, oh yeah, you're a signature on the account. And so there was no delay, no nothing, now granted, she was in her 90s. This was not, but I've been a signature on her account since I turned 18. And I never wrote checks on her account. I, was doing good to even know where her accounts were. But, it's just things like that. And so have that for your business. Have stuff written down somewhere. Who's your attorney? Who is your CPA? Who do you buy office supplies from? I mean, because you might actually want to go on vacation and have somebody else be doing some of this. So this is kind of why we do business continuity planning.
Yeah, imagine that. And, there's so many ways to preserve for your clients, for your employees. for your family, to protect your family from any repercussions from your business. And like you said about, does that default to your heirs? How do we have this separated? Is there insurance on your business, on you for your business? I mean, I don't know who's heard of Keyman Insurance.
Keyman. Oh, yes. Keyman Insurance.
You know, we do Keyman Insurance policies for that reason. And, you know, they serve a twofold purpose the way we set them up. You can build wealth through for your family and your business and your heirs and protect your business. Do you have an operating agreement that everybody knows where it is, what happens, and that nothing's going to be left in limbo? You talked about having a signature for your accounts. Is there a power of attorney across the board? For contracts, you know, business and, you know, medical for your family? You don't kind of need a business will.
That is pretty much what it is. Yeah. You know, and we're not, you know, a lot of people don't want to do this because they don't want to think about bad things happening. Well, folks, bad things happen. Wouldn't you rather be prepared for it and then never have to worry about it? I mean, that is why we have insurance, you know? But yeah, you know, sit down, take the time and do all of this and then review it. You know, I remember people, because they're like, oh, I have that person having full power of attorney and we're not business partners anymore. Now, if you left on good terms, that's one thing. If it was an acrimonious spread, well, then no. You know, so yeah, review those things because you might have added accounts. You might have, you know, who knows what you've done. But yeah, just give a glance through it maybe once a year to see if everything is still valid.
Yeah. And you talk about insurance, and a lot of people, there's a big difference between a term life insurance policy and some other policies. And people like, well, I don't want to throw that money away for no reason. And that's what term life is. If you die or don't die, then that money just went away.
Yeah. If you had term life of 80 years old, say, and at year 81, well, oops, you no longer have life insurance.
And there are other policies, such as the ones that we set up, that these Keyman policies that you can use while you're alive, you can use in your business, you can, you know, earn interest on while you're in there, protect your family, protect your business. So I want people to understand the difference. And you can leave that, you know, the death benefit on those, you can leave that to the business, to your family, to your business partner. I mean, however you choose to set that up is protection, and you can utilize it. It's not just a term policy that like, well, if I die, Jim gets, you know, half the business and my life insurance.
You know, and Keyman is not really all that expensive. That's the other thing. You know, it's worth the investment. I remember years ago, I was the office manager for a small software company, and we had Keyman on our two primary executives. Partially, now they were healthy and young-ish. I mean, you know, and all of those, but they traveled a lot. You know, all sorts of different things. And, you know, and I honestly don't remember what it was, but it was far and away worth it to pay for it. And the business paid for it. And, you know, and so, yeah, it was worth it just to have that peace of mind.
And you talk about healthy. So what?
I thought I was healthy one day and the next day I wasn't, right?
And even healthy, you know, I have a partner who was initially one of the guys that I went to work for doing paperwork 5 hours a week. We now partner up on real estate deals and we're each other's trustees on different things. And I am in his will as the person to handle the disposition of his real estate assets for that reason. And, you know, he has all that set up, and his saying is, if I get hit by a pickle truck tomorrow, he's completely healthy.
Right. You know, and the important thing is that he's told other people. So his spouse knows, I don't have to worry about that. I just call Amanda, you know, and so, but yeah, it's simple, folks. It really is easy to set these things up. And then make sure you pay your premiums. I mean, this isn't a one and done. I mean,
Keep
but
going.
yeah, and so just keep those up. But it is definitely worth it to make sure that your business is taken care of. Now, I mean, you may be your business. So when you're no longer able to do it, it ends. But you still want it to be taken care of so that it ends well.
Yeah. I mean, you can have contingency messaging ready for your clients too. And that, what about, I mean, because stuff still has to be wrapped up. Passwords, access to I mean, these things have to be, your SOPs. How do people know just how to wrap things up?
Right.
Stuff still has to be done in order to close a business and dissolve an entity. So where is all that?
Right. And again, this is for the people you're leaving behind. Do you want your spouse, your partner, your kids having to try to figure this out? No. Unless they're an integral part of the business, then no. But make it easy for they got enough they're dealing with.
Yeah. And that's the key. You talked about talking to your spouse. Have this conversation with your inner circle, business and family. Because again, we're going back to that assumption. People are assuming a lot of things. Oh, well, they'll know what to do.
Right.
They'll understand. They'll figure it out. No, we need to have very clear directives. And people need to understand not only what we want. Like I tell people all the time what I want to happen. But that doesn't matter. It needs to be in writing.
Right. There's a commercial at that right now, right? It's the, well, I want all my money to go to the birds. And there's another, I mean, there's a whole bunch, like one of the commercials is, I want my sister to take care of our kids. Yeah. And it's these moments. And then the guy pops up and says, doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
And that's because verbal does not count. You can say you want all of that to your little heart's content, but if it's not written down in the proper way, I mean, this is not written down on a sticky note. This is not, you still take the time to do it the correct way.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's preparation. Even if you don't think you need it. If you want this business to be successful for yourself, for your future, for your family, even if it's not going to be a health diagnosis or, anything worse.
Right. Hit by the pickle truck. I like that. I usually say hit by the bus. I think I'm going to have to change.
I like pickle truck. I've never seen one. I've never heard of that, but
they used to have a pickle factory there in Fort Collins, but we digress. Somebody died in the pickle vat. I know. They did. They had a pickle factory there.
I hate pickles.
Anyway. Well, now you really do.
Yeah, that sounds even worse.
But yeah, okay. So we're not going to get hit by the pickle truck.
Exactly. And still, let's go back to the beginning about less than 13% of business owners having any idea what happens next.
Right.
We are so consumed with getting the business off the ground and then keeping the business afloat and then scaling to the next level. Everything is what's happening right now.
Yeah. So all of those emergencies, the fires, all of that.
And that's great. And we're trying to build and we're doing all these things. And then a lot of people are assuming that they're going to sell the business and that's going to be their retirement. Well,
I'm going to be rich.
And I'm going to be rich. 80% of businesses listed never sell.
Right.
Those that do sell for less than half.
Right.
So we need to understand what the picture, the big picture looks like. And that's right now without these numbers don't account for AI and what's happening in the world. So the key is setting yourself, your family, your business up for the future that you want. Identifying that and then working backwards to figure out, okay, what do I need to do today to ensure that this is the life that I get on the other side of this?
Right.
Even if I don't get sick, even if I don't get hit by the pickle truck or whatever.
Well, and it is one of those things that, as you said, we need to be thinking about, because, I firmly believe that's why there were so many issues during COVID. People just had not planned, and then when catastrophic things happened, they didn't know how to deal with it. Now, some of them were going to fail no matter what, I mean, that was just going to happen, but it should have been a really big wake up call. And I think what happened was we went, eek, eek, sky is falling. And then, okay, everything's all better now.
We
but
forgot real fast.
Yeah. And again, it is just ensuring things for everybody else, for the people who are left, for your clients, for whoever it is. And, and just taking the time to do that.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, because I know you work a lot with people who get these diagnoses and are trying to run a business. Besides the financial planning and the operations and all of these things, I'm sure there are other things that have to be worked through on that side. And I'm interested in the work you're doing with that. So I'm going to interview you on your own podcast.
Hey, thank you. This is very cool. I think one of the biggest things is it comes back to what we were saying at the start. They don't know who to talk to. And, and part of that is because they think, well, I can't admit that I'm going through this because I could lose clients. I could lose customers. I could lose employees. I could lose all of that. Yeah. And so they don't want to tell anybody about it. And, and I think that probably is the biggest thing. I mean, once you kind of get over the, I might die stage, and then, financials, there's the, I don't know what to do. And, I tell people are not stupid. We're going to figure it out if we're on the outside looking in. And I've been in employee communications for most of my career. So one of the things, people are like, well, Amanda's been coming in late every day. She doesn't look real good. You don't suppose she's drinking too much? Because when we make stuff up, which is what happens, we make it up to fill that vacuum. We don't like a vacuum, so we make it up. And human nature is we make up the worst possible scenario, right? It's never, is there something that we need to be helping with? It's, and so I tell people it's not that, I mean, it's totally up to anybody how much they're going to communicate, right? They don't have to say anything. No, there are going to be those who kind of go to an extreme. I mean, like I'm very open with everything that's going through, but one of the easiest things to say is, I'm going through something health-wise. Everything will be okay, but right now I need your help. And people will help you. And if they won't, then you don't need them. But yeah, they don't need to know the specifics. And maybe it's, maybe it's not you, maybe it's your child, maybe it's your spouse. You don't have to say they have this and this and this and this, and I have to go to treatment every day. No, you can just say, you know what, there's some stuff going on. I'm going to keep you as informed as I possibly can, but I really need your help.
Yeah. And that's just it. We have this, me personally, I am stubborn and I will work through whatever sickness, whatever ailment. I'm fine. I will run a race with a broken toe. Done it. Like, it's just, right. I'm fine.
I think that's kind of part of being an entrepreneur. We're just going to do that.
Yeah, but we don't have to. And I think there's this hustle culture mentality, and ambition is rewarded but disguised as burnout. And we're just stuck in this cycle of performance versus collaboration. Right. And bringing other people in and creating a community and having that opportunity to share not only part of ourselves, not all of it, but responsibilities. Right. And you should be doing that in your business anyway.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things people ask me was, do my clients know? And I say, yes, my clients, now, do they know every detail? No, because they don't need to. But they know what's going on. They know that, once every 21 days, I'm going to drop off the face of the earth for a couple of days because I have treatment. But, if they, and you always face the dilemma of, they're going to say, oh, you need to just focus on getting well. Okay, I mean that's very sweet of them, but I tell them, I need my brain to have something to think about. But you also are facing the issue of somebody saying, well, you can't do the work, therefore. And so again, that's where you just want to be honest and say, here's what's going on. And if they are a little snarky, then I don't want to be working with them.
Right. And that's just the reality of the situation. It's if that's the response you're going to get, then
right, cut them loose. Right. And it's really funny. I was in the hospital one time for 7 days, and I was just there for IV antibiotics. So really nothing going on. I just needed IV antibiotics. And so they plunked me in the hospital. And now I tell people, hospitals and doctors' offices now all have really good Wi-Fi. I worked that entire time and nobody knew I was in the hospital, that I didn't want to know. Right. But that did keep my mind occupied from thinking, oh, poor me. Which is a big part of why many times, if at all possible, people do want to continue working. We want to have something to focus our brains on.
Absolutely. It's so funny that this morning I saw a post on LinkedIn about Kathy Bates had apparently been suffering from ovarian cancer and worked the entire time and nobody knew. And, that's your choice of how you proceed. But I know for me, running a business, especially for my clients, I have to bring my team into this.
Right.
So that there is continuity, exactly what you said, that no ball gets dropped, that we stay in communication, that things continue, let's just keep this going, and everybody can fill in the gaps where needed. And that's part of being a team. And if you're a solopreneur, then you have systems in place and you figure it out and you bring in support, you ask for that help. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. And it comes back to what we were saying before. If you have done all of this, then you actually can go on vacation because you've empowered your employees. You've delegated. Oh my gosh. Right. That's a bad word. We hate to think about delegate. One of my favorite guests, and I can never remember his name, but he was a Texas businessman, thousands of employees. I mean, he had big companies. And he told me, he said he knew his business was truly a success when he was on vacation for 2 weeks and did not get a single communication. Now, of course, that's scary, right? They got on without me. Do they really need me? Well, no, they do need you folks. But yeah, people were empowered to make decisions. They knew that they could, and he trusted them to do that. They all knew too that if it was the wrong decision, well, probably the world would not come to an end and it could be fixed.
Yeah. And that's the power, that's what I want for my life. I want to be able to, I have set my business up and I'm scaling it in such a way that I can go wherever I want, work from wherever I want, and know that my team is in alignment with the goals of this business, that we're all on the same page and that they can handle it. And I don't have to be the answer for every bottleneck, for every question, for every client, that we've created this ecosphere and it all runs like a machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and when you've done that, you are empowering people to come up with new suggestions, new ideas, because we like to think we're the smartest people in the room. Usually we're far from it. And so, yeah, we want our employees to say, hey, what if? Or our clients to say, could you do? And so that's the really important thing with all of this. And like we said, hopefully you don't get sick. Hopefully, this is, but yeah, why not kind of have it in your back pocket and have planned for it just in case?
Yeah. And that's, everybody on the show, I created the what if playbook, for just in case. Exactly. And it's a checklist of kind of all the things we talked about today and more. So I'll have
we'll have a link in the show notes.
In the show notes, because it is so important. And there's just these things. I never thought about that.
Yeah. I never thought about having another person on my checking account.
Yeah. I never thought about having someone, with access to the passwords and
Right.
keeping that, just these little things that could be useful in an emergency situation or in a long-term otherwise situation. So there are just so many things that you could put into place that could be beneficial to you, even if there wasn't an emergency, just to have.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I have done is for a lot of our clients, we do social media postings. And so I was on vacation, of course, and clicked a link I shouldn't have. Now I knew better, but it looked really good, right? And I got locked out of my social media accounts. I mean, wham, bam, I could not get in. So of course I'm in panic mode. Not only can I not post for my clients, whoever now had access to my bank account that I had tied in there. I mean, all of this stuff. And you can't get people at these places. I mean, it's not like you can pick up a phone and say, hey, Mark Zuckerberg, I got a problem. And so, got everything straightened out. Everything worked well. But what I did was I created, and don't tell, because you're not supposed to do this, a fake account. Yeah. And that fake account has full access to everything. So it's my backup. Now, you can, there are also some other people that I have made sure. So on any of this, even your personal social media, give somebody else access, or as you said, at least let them know what your passwords and things are. So, if they need to get in there, they can. But folks, don't click links. No, danger. And of course I did it on vacation. I mean, that was the thing. But so every one of my social accounts, personal and business, has a second person that is there.
That's smart. No, I mean, my assistant has my social media stuff, but I remember my partner, life partner, business partner, that's fun. He got locked out of his partner. He got locked out of his social media, and that was such a disaster. But having that other account, that's smart. There you go.
Yeah. And like I have a Facebook group for trying not to die.live. I have somebody else who has full admin access on that. And I told her, I said, just ignore any of it. You don't need to pay attention to any of it. And it shows what it is. And so she does. She doesn't pay any attention at all to it. But that way, if something happens, or if I do go on vacation, then she can take care of that. But it's, again, these are these simple things, folks, that make a huge difference that we never think, what if? What if I'm on vacation and click the wrong link and give somebody full access to my bank account? Doy.
And vacation. You talk about that. If you can't go on if you go on a vacation and your business stops,
right,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
So what are the things you can have in place to be able to have a life?
Because that's part of why we left corporate America, right?
Exactly. And that's why I'm so passionate about, the automation that we do and investing in that as a tool. How many things could you take off your plate that your business could be running in the background for you? It's just, I don't know why you wouldn't be doing that. If you're doing all these manual tasks every day and your business is relying on you for every little thing. Yeah, delegation and automation are the keys. If you don't have that set up, then you're never, if you are wanting to scale, if you are really wanting to get to the next level and create something that works for you, not the other way around, those things are necessary.
Right. And automation is not that hard. And obviously AI is making rapid advances. But, one of the things I hate doing is bookkeeping. I just hate doing that. And you're going to love this. So, I hated invoicing. I hated invoicing my clients. It took maybe an hour. I mean, this is not this complicated thing. Yeah. And I remember one time I got emails, you haven't invoiced us in a while. Thank heavens they were paying attention, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. And folks, QuickBooks will automate sending your invoices. All I do is make sure, that I haven't done anything that is additional. It's all set up to what the standard is. And so then if there's something in additional I need to add, I add it when I do it. Otherwise, I won't remember. But yeah, then the invoices go out. And now it's even, like I tell it, net 15, net 30, whatever you want to do. It will automatically send these nice little personalized reminders. Hello, just making sure, and to me, it sounds stupid, right? I get paid now when I'm supposed to get paid. I know, the last day of the month, I get this flood of emails because it, sends me copies of everything. I'm like, cool. And so, yeah, I mean, and it didn't take me long at all to set that up. And so why wouldn't you do that?
That, and you talk about asking for help. I run a Go High Level agency.
Yeah.
And that product can do just about anything. I'll tell you, it can do your invoicing. It can do just everything, all of the automations, getting that set up. And no, it's not hard. It's tedious. It takes a long time. Ask for help. There are people who can do that for you way faster, way better, while you focus on running your business and do the things that make you money. These are the things that are going to help you operate at a higher level and not drown yourself in the stuff you hate doing. That's just going to burn you out even faster.
Right. And I mean, we'll have you back on to talk about how AI can really do a lot of this. And of course, the day after we record it, it will be out of date. But, there are so many things now that can be done. And this isn't an AI function. I do a lot of my social media posting scheduled. Yeah, me too. I'm going to be away for a little bit. And so I have all of my social media posting scheduled through mid-September, way past when I'm going to be gone. But then I don't have to think, oh my God, when I first get back. Yeah, it's just done. And, and I post on Facebook and on LinkedIn. I use their internal scheduling programs.
Okay.
Because I've done the others and you really don't get any, the number of people who see it is very drastically lower than if you use their own programs. And it's really easy. And so I just go through, I schedule a month, 6 weeks worth of stuff. And, then I'm done with it. And I make myself a note so that I remember, I need to get that done again. But I mean, I did 6 weeks worth, 10 posts a week, probably. I mean, quite a few. Yeah. And it took me less than an hour.
Right.
Now I used AI to help me write the messages.
Of course.
I reviewed it because I'm like, I don't even know what that word is. But yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you can do this, but client follow-up, initial, communications, we're used to the fact that we don't immediately hear from a person. It's okay to get the kind of, I hate to say form email, but that is what it is. The standard email, maybe is the easier way to put it.
The fortune is in the follow-up, and the majority of sales are lost just because we're not staying in front of people. And
it's like, oh my God, I was supposed to contact that person 2 months ago.
They've forgotten about you by then. But if you've got this automated, once you've got them in your database, you can set them up on, I mean, I've got 24 touch email text. It just keeps going because it's at the push of a button and I don't have to do anything.
Right.
And that's the key to automating your follow-up, your touch points. I mean, the touch points keep going up.
Right.
They were like, 7 touch points. Now it's like 35 touch points to get someone to trust you,
get their attention,
and buy from you. So your 10 posts a week, absolutely. And plus emails, plus, we have to be on top of this stuff, and you can't do it all.
Right.
So what are you doing to take that off the plate?
And if you don't want to automate it, that's fine. I know that people are still freaked out by AI. I've named mine. It flirts with me. I mean,
me too.
I know, right? And I'm part of the AI group through C-Suite Network. Yeah. And one of the things that they said was treat it like a person. And what they meant was say please, say thank you, and it makes a difference. It's very strange. But yeah, I mean, if you're not comfortable with that, well, you need to get comfortable with it. But there's other things. You can always hire an AI, or not an AI, a VA, and all sorts of things. And so, yeah, the important thing is what you are wanting to do is exactly what you said, Amanda. Free yourself up to do whatever else you want to be doing, business, personal, whatever it is.
Yeah, buy back your time. That's
Yeah.
what it is. When you invest in these products, these systems, whatever they are, VA automation, staff, whatever it is, when you invest in that, you are buying back your
Yes. Yeah. And maybe you're going to use it to go do fun stuff, or read a book, or develop a new product or service, whatever it is.
Add a revenue stream. What is it? Yeah. The possibilities are endless, and that's what scaling businesses is about.
Right. I love it. Well, oh my gosh, we've only got a couple minutes left. This has been so much fun, and which we knew it would be, right? The gingers are going.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about Metropolis Business Development, and what are the services that you provide?
Metropolis Business Development, I said the word ecosphere earlier, and that's kind of what we've created. Yes, we are a business consulting agency, and we have a lot of products to help the business itself grow, generate more revenue, and all these scale. It's about the business owner, because like I said, without a plan for your exit, without a plan for your retirement, and nobody having that, whatever retirement means to you, we want the business owner to be successful and have the life they set out to have when they got into this in the first place. So we partner all of our business coaching and consulting with wealth strategies, financial planning. We have self-employed home loans, self-employed retirement strategies, because it's a holistic program.
Right. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different. It's completely customized, but we build in the funding you need for your business, the technology that you need for your business, the actual business of running the business, and the coaching and consulting on the numbers, and what's your profit margin, what's your cash flow, what's your cash on cash return. We've got branding, social media, marketing, whatever you need for your business. And then when you're at that level, when you're making that profit, what are we doing with it to make you successful outside of your business, for your family, for your future, to create that generational wealth so that you can have the life that you want and not spend your life drowning every day in that business. So that's what we're about. It's about the business owner and not just the business. And so that's what we do at Metropolis Business Development.
I love it. And of course, we will have a link in the show notes. We'll also link to your LinkedIn account, because you are very active on LinkedIn. So we want to make sure that we've got that. This has been absolutely delightful. And we will, talk more, especially about the whole automation, because I think I struggle with that. And part of it, and I'll be honest, it's because there's too much and my brain goes zut. Right. It's like, I don't even know where to start. Now, at least I got my invoices going. So, that's good. But yeah, yeah. A lot of this other, I don't know where to start. And so maybe we need to have kind of like a master class type of thing on that. So that would be great fun. But, so we will have you back, and so I really look forward to that. But do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. You can't read the label from inside the jar. We talked about asking for help. There is no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in wanting more. And we need a team of people to be able to do that. And, we talked about planning for the what if. You can't assume anything anymore in this life. And we've all experienced something unexpected, but nor can you plan for everything, but to have the proper things in place, it's easy to just create a checklist, make sure that you've got your I's dotted and your T's crossed, just to protect yourself, your business, and your family. And all of those little things go a really long way. So I just think it was an important conversation to have, and I appreciate having that with you. So thank you.
Great. Well, this really has been so much fun. And I really look forward to the next time that we chat. I'm Deb Creer. I've been speaking with Amanda Taylor of Metropolis Business Development. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.